What's up, crypto junkies? It's Jay, and today let's talk about Bitcoin. Let's talk about the markets. Let's talk about what's been going on. You see the timestamp in the lower right-hand corner of the video. It is December 23rd for me. I'm a little bit ahead of my American friends because we're a day ahead of about. And so let's talk about what's happened with the market, what's going on with Bitcoin, some of the continued fallout of Bitcoin Cash and the Coinbase situation, and kind of what to look forward to. You know, like, I think people forget that we've been riding in a pretty parabolic channel, Bitcoin, for quite a while. And so we're going to look at that. We're going to look at some opinions. We're going to look at where the future might go. All right. Let's start with the coin market cap, though. We've dropped out 100 billion in the last 24 to 36 hours alone, which is a lot. That's a sizable amount. You see BTC dominance has gone down. The top 50 is just about all red, which again is a pretty rare time. This has happened before. We've had these big corrections. There's about a 30 to 40% correction on BTC, 100 billion down in the market cap of Bitcoin alone. We got a ton of transactions pending still. Look at very little green in the top 50. Oh, there's a top 50 right there. Very little green, most of it's red. We still have, this was up to 280,000 unconfirmed transactions, which I don't know, what is that, like a week, 2 weeks behind in terms of confirming transactions? So it's fighting its way through. Is at 280,000 last night. It's now at 257,000. So maybe with things kind of calming down, a lot of people pulling money out of the market, it'll have a chance to get through this transaction pile, because that's a lot. Okay, that's a lot. And this was all triggered from the CME futures launching and a lot of other things launching, brought a lot of new people into the market, a lot of new people into Coinbase. The only problem is that now Coinbase is having all these problems, and they've shut down a lot of their activity, if not, I believe, all of their activity until the 29th. So that means that a lot of things are like going to stagnate. And so if we looked at Bitcoin as a whole, the overall volume has gone down naturally because there's a lot of physical things stopping it. It's not just people pulling out money at this point. Now there's physical barriers, meaning that Coinbase is a huge entry point for people to get involved in cryptocurrency. That being kind of locked down, you don't really have that opportunity. Let me actually just go and confirm this really quick before we jump into a few other pieces here. Let me just search out Coinbase. There it is. And get you the exact information. Okay, that was... Okay, so it is buying and selling is temporarily disabled. CNBC, boy, I tell you what, they really like to cover Coinbase. Wink, wink. That's just me poking fun. Temporarily disabled, resolve 144, according to the company status website. Somebody told me it was, or I read somewhere that it was going to be, no. Trading temporarily goes down at Coinbase. The exchange temporarily disabled the app. Okay, that's proving to be a waste of your time. So I don't know, maybe I misread, but there's problems with Coinbase and you using it right now. Let's see if Business Insider does any better. This is basically done today. Buys and sells may be temporarily offline, the company said. Post an alert 11:35 a.m. We're working to restore full availability as soon as possible. Okay, so it's not till the 29th. They are working to resolve it as soon as possible. And right now, it looks to be that trading is still temporarily disabled. And going off of everybody in the community that's told me so far is that they're having massive problems with Coinbase, okay? So we'll come back to that topic in just a second. There's a lot of barriers that are stopping people from getting fresh new Bitcoin, new people coming into Bitcoin. And then obviously they're going to hear the panic. They're going to hear the news that we had a 30% correction, that the price is plummeted, and whatever catchy headline can get a lot of clicks for a lot of major news networks. So this is going to affect people. This is going to affect the amount of money that comes in. And if you see, we were in a pretty bad downward spiral. You could say that's a correction after the 5-wave pattern that we just saw I think it coincides with a lot more pieces than that. Like your TA gives you a piece, something big in the market, like some big disaster happening gives you a piece, and maybe other spiritual, the stars are aligning, it's Mercury retrograde, things like that, I think can even be brought into an analysis, an overall analysis of a market, because it just blows my mind how coincidentally a lot of those pieces line up. Like we have our TA stuff that lines up, and that's, I think, the most straightforward number analytical approach. Then we've got things that affect that, which are like what happened with Coinbase, what happened with Bitcoin Cash. Then we have other things that affect that, like, oh, it just so happens that it's this time of the month or this time of the year, Mercury retrograde, which people, depending on what your beliefs are, a lot of people believe interfere with electronics, with data, with number crunching. So all of those things, a lot of the time, coincidentally, line up. And so I'm pretty open to what indicators I go off of to attempt to analyze markets. I'm fascinated by it, actually. And so I don't really close myself off to things like that, but I'm not saying that should be part of your analysis process. I'm just stating it, that's all. So, all right, so I just did a simple trend line fib retracement from the bottom to the top. And so what we were dealing with is our bottom was about $12,821. We broke through that, but you can see at every single major fib line, there was a lot of testing with the wicks. And then when it finally broke through, like this one was probably the most impressive, testing in this whole trend zone between the 50 and the 38% lines. Then it finally broke through, and we've continued to see that, but after a lot of testing at every point. And so some people are starting to now get back into the market thinking that it's over, but it might not be. Okay, so this is where I want to carefully tread into the next part of this conversation, and then we'll jump into Bitcoin Cash and what's going on with that just after that. So that brings me to this chart here. This one is with the 55 EMA line. And so this, I don't know what time frame this is on actually, but this is charting out, this red line is the 55 EMA line, all right? Keep that in mind with what we're about to look at just here. So what we see here is, this is historic, by the way. And so this is going back all the way to, let's see, 900. So that's 2013 maybe. And if we look, we see this is quarter by quarter, by the way, and these aren't zones or goals. This is just a label, not like a zone to think of, where the word is written or whatever. Okay, so we have a bottom, then the top, then a bottom, then the top, bottom, top, right? You see that basic pattern happening on the screen in front of you. But what you'll notice is that when we go into the third, go 1, 2, 3 bottoms over, that bottom is almost perfectly at the previous top. We go up to another bottom, and what do you know? That bottom is almost at the previous top. So we've got this habit, we've got this consistent historic data while being in this parabolic trend, which is like this circular trend up. We also are seeing a correction of 100% retracement. Now, like I said, this is quarter by quarter, over time, over years. Okay, so nobody can tell you like, okay, this is going to happen next month, and you can expect the price of Bitcoin to go down to $1,000 next month. Some people are actually predicting that if it falls out of this parabolic channel. Some people think that it has fallen out. Some people believe that what will happen on the retracement is that it will go back down into some territory that, for a lot of people, I think is quite scary. So let's just say that, again, this word bottom does not signify that that's the dollar amount that this bottom is going to hit at. But what we could assume is that this next bottom will do what? It'll close out at very close to the last top. And that puts us somewhere in the $3,000 range. Now, when this is going to happen, this is going quarter by quarter, which, if you think about it, the last quarter here is by the end of this month. I'm not saying that hold on to your shorts, that's not done yet. By the end of the month, we could see as low as $3,000. I don't know. All I'm saying is that historically, that we see, this bottom is basically, so this bottom here is almost identical to this top. We're a little bit off. We're in this channel though. And in this bottom, if you take a look here at the wick, it hits around this top. So this bottom, this top, this is the only one that's really not there. You would have to measure off of this bottom here. And so what we can expect is somewhere when this bottom does hit, what is that, $3,100 to, so $3,000 to $4,000 in this channel is what this next bottom is supposed to hit. If it continues to follow this trend. And there's variations to this. Like this is another interesting piece of TA that I see here, which I've clicked the play button. So this is the live chart right now. This was published on December 4th. And what it's talking about is now that we're in this parabolic channel, whenever that goes up and peaks, which original projections for this TA was at 30,000, that it will crash back down all the way down to 1,000. So the parabolic maximum will hit its crescendo, will hit the peak, and then it will go back down. A lot of people don't agree with this TA, and I see why. A lot of people are emotionally invested into Bitcoin. A lot of people are taking different analysis approach to this. I like looking at all of it and kind of grabbing the good and the bad from it so that I'm at least in the know of the variations of opinions, and I can make my own best decision based on that. You know, these same people are still saying, hey, I believe in 100,000. I believe in these astronomical prices for Bitcoin, but what's about to happen is this. And so, again, I think what that should trigger in you is, what is my plan? Do I have a plan? And if you don't, maybe it's time to get one. Meaning, what's your strategy for these longer holds, and then, you know, just holding on and cold storaging Bitcoin? You know, if you're getting in, you want to start shorting it on a margin account, just doing longs that are lasting like a couple days, a couple weeks. You know, because there's strategy for all of it. And I think that a well-balanced strategy is taking into consideration, long-term holds, which is like cold storage stuff, and hardware wallet, and then action, you know, daily, weekly, monthly action within these markets that you're getting into. So another reason why I love TradingView too is because there's so many variations of opinion. There's so many different TA and analysis being done that I love looking at the whole thing. And then, you know, obviously for myself, making the best decision for me and my portfolio. Let's dive into, I want to touch on a little bit of the drama. And the reason why I feel like this is a big impact is because Coinbase is one of the major entry points for beginning cryptocurrency people. This is more important. Got it. Yep. Got it. There we go. There we go. You know, I got this room padded with a bunch of shit too, and you can still hear that. That just really frustrates me. Okay, so Coinbase is a major entry point for beginners into crypto, right? I mean, hundreds of thousands of users daily pour into that place. So they're having problems. And there is some sort of collusion that has occurred with Bitcoin Cash. I mean, come on. Bitcoin Cash, the problem with Bitcoin Cash is that it can't really stand on its own. It's still pegged deeply to Bitcoin. So the argument of Bitcoin Cash is going to take over Bitcoin isn't necessarily true, because if Bitcoin didn't exist, Bitcoin Cash wouldn't be doing as well as it's doing right now. Like I said, it's deeply pegged to Bitcoin. And so without that, Bitcoin Cash would be doing a lot worse than it is now. All right. So if we just read, these tweets are actually starting to get shared around a little bit. You see 43, 160 retweets, 100 retweets. Let me refresh this. There might even be more since then. But basically, what's happened is the following. Let me just read through these tweets. All I know is this will bring more eyes on Coinbase and its customers' database again. So if you value privacy, really think about where you keep your coins. I can't speculate on what happens next. We just wait to see if more happens or not. That is in response to this tweet. Okay, so this is what we know right now. Someone inside Coinbase went to the SEC and gave a statement that someone was giving inside info about a coin on Coinbase. The SEC took the statement. That's all we know right now. We don't know if they have authority to do anything. Okay, get out of Coinbase, get out. I'm giving you plenty of warning, get out, go elsewhere. Dark days are quickly approaching for them, get out of Coinbase. That's a bit, I guess, that's a bit of panic right there. He basically published the information on a, what's the word I'm looking for? Completely just blanked, sorry. Come on, Pastebin, there we go. Whew. He posted this on a Pastebin. It's not the official copy. A lot of people say that this guy's full of shit. It's hard to say at this point, but there are a lot of weird, odd things that happen, right? Like I went back yesterday and found more information in the Wayback Machine, which is archive.org. And basically they went and changed the roadmap to add Bitcoin Cash after they had already tweeted and actually rolled out Bitcoin Cash. That's a weird thing. Why would you need to do that? GDAX went and changed their TOS to say basically that in the name of the integrity of the exchange, they can basically do whatever they want. They can shut down trading, shut down your account, hold money, do whatever they want, all in the name of integrity and solvency of the exchange itself. Again, this was all added after the fact. There was no public tweet that said, hey, we just adjusted our TOS. Like, you know, with Facebook is always putting out a notification, and it's a big deal when the TOS changes in a site like Facebook. Because why? Because you're putting so much information in there. I kind of think it should be similar here. Like, why wouldn't Coinbase and GDAX like roll out a big email and say, hey, we've adjusted our TOS, timestamp this, docket, you know, December 22nd, we've made an update based on what happened. We haven't seen anything like that, all right? So I think that that's interesting, especially like we're giving you quite a bit. We're giving you our money. You're getting to track all of our transactions. Like, come on, it shouldn't be taken so lightly. I think also too, like, why wouldn't you just add it to the roadmap? I understand that tons of exchanges every day add new coins and they don't make a big hoopla about it, a big social media post and a big marketing extravaganza about it. They're just like, oh, sweet, this coin's listed. Coinbase, though, hasn't done that in the past. I think that's another argument that people are talking about, right? And then why would you go back and change the roadmap after the fact and then not post about it? It's like, okay, here is our roadmap for coins, and then all of a sudden we go back, add Bcash, and then just say nothing about it. Those things just don't really add up, okay? So for some people, that's still looked at as thin, that's still looked at as conspiracy theory. Make your own choice, okay? I will say this, because some people from the last video I shot, Jay, you sound really, really bitter. You sound like you don't like Bcash. It sounds like you're a Bitcoin fanboy. I'm not. I don't like Roger Ver. That's the simple thing. So the bitterness that you hear in like my snarky kind of attitude is geared towards him, not the coin. If there's plays to be made from a day trading standpoint in Bcash, I'll fucking do it because I want to make money. From a long-term hold standpoint, a value standpoint, I don't see it in Bcash. And from a who's running it, who's behind it, not impressed with that either. There's a lot of great things that Roger Ver could have gone on CNBC and done. He could have proven facts like about the transaction speed. He could have gone in there with data and information and said, oh, hey, you know, I tend to get on my horse and talk shit about Bitcoin, but here's the stats, here's the facts. How hard would that have been to prepare for that? How hard would that have been to use this data that exists that proves that Bitcoin Cash is faster, better, stronger than Bitcoin? If it's so obvious, then why don't you know this data that you could just shoot off the hip? You don't even need to study this stuff. And I'll tell you, like, Bitcoin Cash is not always faster. It's not this instantaneous thing that everybody claims it is. Well, not everybody. It's really just some people. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It depends on the exchange. It depends on a lot of different factors. So I just wanted to clarify that because I think at the end of the day, I don't know how much I care about the whole drama going on. I care more about like the new users that are coming in to Coinbase and GDAX, finding that first, and the ramifications of all of this big problem and what could turn into a bigger problem affects that. That's what I care about the most, okay? And outside of that, I think what I'll probably end up doing is shooting a few trading videos. I've got some open trades right now. You guys saw me do that on the last live stream. And so then all of this happened. So I got caught in quite a few trades, but it's okay because a lot of those are already turning back around. I'm at break even, I think on 2 or 3 of the trades, but I'm going to hold in there a little bit longer because I know that we're not fully bounced back yet. And on those positions, I would rather recoup a lot more with the with my margin, you know, in that. So I think I'll wait on those, but expect the trading video to hit. I had a whole video done on Elliott Wave, but the time has kind of passed, and it was right before we saw the big correction in Bitcoin. And it's like, I put 3 or 4 updates in it already. I have quite a few videos that end up like this too. It sucks. I have like a video graveyard of videos that we didn't get it edited fast enough and we didn't get it out fast enough. to actually have the impact that it should have had. So I just sandboxed the video. And that's why this video you're watching, there's no fancy effects, no transitions. This is literally gonna have zero editing, and I'm just gonna upload it to the channel just to update you on what's going on. I also think this brings a nice balance because there are some people that follow us that think it's annoying, the transitions that we use, the guy saying, okay, all the time and shit like that. I know that sometimes people just want the information, and that's the point of videos like this. So this has been raw. There's zero edits to this. You saw me correct myself multiple times, kind of like we do on the live stream. And hopefully this serves you up some value. This gives you direction for what you are doing right now with your strategy, how you're bringing money in. Gemini and Kraken are other options to bring money in. They're what's called an exit exchange, meaning that you bring fiat in to cryptocurrency. I suggest not to trade on Kraken though. It's pretty buggy. Poloniex is pretty buggy too. So bring in money through those and then push it out onto your other exchanges. Keep in mind that with Gemini, it takes a while to get approved and they're asking quite a bit. They've got the know your customer policy stuff in place and a lot of other information and data they ask for because they're talking with banks. You know, they're an exit exchange, meaning that you're bringing fiat over into crypto. So keep that in mind. That process will take a while. I would go ahead and suggest that you start it now if you haven't already, so that you can get another option under your belt in case shit really goes south for Coinbase. Who knows what'll happen at this point? I know a lot of people are pretty bitter about it. And once again, everything tends to get segmented into the camps of pro Bitcoin Cash. What's the real Bitcoin and what are we doing behind it? All of that is just insane to me. It's just a waste of time. So that's it. We'll start again, like I said, on live streams on the 27th. Outside of that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on videos like this because this is relevant information that you need right now. This is the stuff that I'm in the Discord chat talking about all day long. If you haven't joined the Discord chat, probably a good idea. We're almost at 2,000 people in that community. It's a free community. It's not a signals group. It's not a pump and dump. It's not a shill this, shill that. It's basically a community. So when I use the word community, I mean that. It's everything crypto, even getting into like health and fitness and how to improve yourself because you're sitting in front of the computer all day long trading. Like every aspect of crypto and the crypto lifestyle is represented in this Discord community. So if you want to be around a community like that and you think it'll benefit and value you, just sign up. Verify with phone your account. That stops a lot of the spammers and a lot of the abusive behavior people can do. And come on into the community, join us, have some fun. I guarantee you'll walk out smarter than you walk in, and that's the goal with it. But outside of that, be on the lookout because I'll be uploading more videos very soon, my friends. See ya.